Welcome to Season 2 of the Generational Dental Wealth Show. Season 2 is all about increasing dental financial IQ. We do record these live in studio at Team Studios, so if you want to see the video format of this show, go ahead to Spotify or YouTube. Let's hop into it.
Hello. Welcome back to the Generational Dental Wealth Show. My name is Dr. Jermaine Affetti.
My name is Kingsley Affetti, CPA.
Today's going to be a fun conversation.
Exciting.
Before we get into it, though, man, what's going on with you?
Nothing much, man. We're in post-tax season, so for the most part, all CPAs are hiding under a rock at this point, just trying to recover. So I have a few trips on the schedule. I'm heading out to the West Coast a little bit for some continuing education, as well as down to Jamaica, man. I haven't been to Jamaica, which is interesting because everybody goes to Jamaica or Mexico. I haven't been to either one of those, man. So I gotta get those off the bucket list, man.
Jamaica's a good time, man. Jamaica's a good time. Like, random fact, Jamaica is one island. Like, people don't know, like, certain countries like Japan has thousands of islands. People think it's just Japan, one big island. It has thousands of islands, but Jamaica is one large island.
Yeah.
Fun fact, man. So, yeah, man, I hear congratulations are in order, man. I heard you bought a primary residence, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just got the primary residence, and if you got one, man, it's trying to get furniture in, trying to decorate, and all the good things, man. But I'm definitely grateful, man.
And that's one of the few things that I do like about my downtown condo is that it does not take much to furnish that place.
Yeah, yeah.
You give me about 2 days, and the whole thing is furnished and completely done, man. So yeah, congratulations, man. Congratulations,
man. What's new with you, man?
Man, nothing much, man. We got back from a conference in Phoenix, and we were able to add some new levels of systemizations to our practice that has like yielded great dividends, man. So it's just sometimes you got to work on your business, not necessarily in your business.
Yep.
And being a business owner, that's truly your biggest job, is to figure out the direction of your company, not necessarily be the one directing within your company, man. So that's been fun, man. That's been absolutely fun, man.
That sounds good, man. I hear it's a lot of great, not so great sometimes, updates going on.
Yeah.
In the industry, me kind of being, on the non-clinical side, man. I'm just interested in hearing some takes about what's kind of going on in the dental industry, dental space, man. I hear it's a new phenomena, if you would call it, going on within the space.
Wild out there, man.
What is it called? Veneer techs?
Veneer techs, man.
Veneer techs.
I don't know.
What is that, man?
I don't know how this came about. I don't know what group of people came together and thought this was a thing. Maybe they thought, hey, there's nail techs, there's hair techs. Why are they not veneer techs? Now, I understand there are dental assistants. Like, we don't need veneer techs. We have dental assistants, right? So if you haven't really heard or you've been living underneath a rock, man, there's been a whole phenomenon going on that has social media going crazy. It has all the different dental societies going wild, different institutions going crazy. And it's called veneer techs. These are individuals who take maybe a 2-day or 3-day course with an unlicensed teacher, and they are taught how to make veneers. Not necessarily the science behind teeth or anything like that, but how to make teeth look like veneers. And it's honestly very scary what's going on. About 6 months ago, there was a prominent football player who actually died from a dental abscess.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Prominent. He played for the Buccaneers. So we actually used to see him play in Carolina very often because, Buccaneers in the same division, man. So seeing him die really woke a lot of people up to the importance of oral health care and understanding that this stuff is serious. This stuff can really factor into your overall health. So I think this is why the public is on a different level of alertness when this kind of stuff goes on with veneer techs, because it's understand that you might put the veneers on top of the teeth, but you're not dealing with the underlying disease underneath, right?
Yeah.
One thing that the veneer techs were talking about was veneer breath. Yeah, man.
Well, what is that?
It's a thing called veneer breath that when people get veneers, their breath starts to stink. It smells a little bit off. And if you're getting your veneers done by a licensed professional, you should not have veneer breath.
Yeah.
Because veneer breath is usually an indication that there is disease being masked by the actual veneers that are being put on top of it. So for myself and my colleagues, when we're placing veneers, what's happening is we're removing and stripping away all the decayed, all the cavities, whatever that's underneath the teeth structure, right? And then we're preparing it, whether that means building the tooth back up or just go ahead and moving forward with that point and putting veneers on top of it or crowns on top of it. So these veneer techs, again, you don't really have high-speed hand pieces. You don't have suction, right? You don't have a compressor that you can actually remove the cavities with. So you're left with your vices, especially if you're doing it in a basement or wherever you're doing it. You don't really have what you need to remove the cavities and the caries that are necessary to make sure you have solid, sound tooth structure underneath, man. So please, I know you've heard of it, man, but if you know any veneer techs, please tell them to cease and desist before somebody else comes in and does it for them, man. It's getting serious outside. One of the actual professors, I guess, I can't call it professors. That's a joke, man. One of the I don't even know if you call it instructors, but one of the persons who were teaching this course, they're charging $6,000 for this course.
Wow.
To teach other people how to become veneer techs, giving them a whole certificate and everything, man. So she got arrested in Illinois, man. The Illinois State Board, they are not playing games. They said she was practicing without a license. That is a felony in America. So she also has a warrant out for her arrest in Nevada because she practiced in Nevada and Illinois. Not understanding that if you do a crime in a different state, they each have a right to warrant you for arrest, man. So she's going through the thick of things. If you know any veneer techs, please tell them to shut it down. Go to dental assistant school, man. You become we have some amazing dental assistants at Empire, man. You can go and become an amazing dental assistant, but please avoid becoming veneer techs, man. But let me ask you this, Kingsley, like, you being on the financial side of things, right?
Yeah.
Dovetailing. Why do you think people necessarily want veneers so badly that they will go to someone's bedroom to get veneers?
Yeah, I mean,
and pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, I would say, right, it comes one of those things, right? We live in the digital age. I think it just starts there, right? Everybody sees, honestly, what people do, not even just on their street corner, like it was, I'm sure, 50 years ago, but now what people are doing all over the nation, all over the world. So it becomes, obviously, these fads where it's like, oh, I want this, I want that, but they're not really doing a research to know what is what, right? They may not even know they need to go to a licensed professional. They might think, like you said, that, oh, there's nail techs, there's hair techs, so there must be something called a veneer tech, but it's not true, right? Once you are aware of it, you begin to understand that. But I think everybody wants the same thing, really just to really just follow the trends that are going on and what they're seeing just on a mass scale, man.
So I think that dovetails pretty perfectly into our topic today, which is your rich life. There is a series out on Netflix called Rich Life by this guy named Veneer. He talks about basically how to build your rich life. What does that actually look like, right? And the whole premise of it, right, is how do you spend extravagantly on the things that you want and cut spending drastically in the areas that don't move the needle for you, right? For instance, if you enjoy taking vacations is what gets you reset so you can do the best level of work you possibly can. But eating out doesn't really do it for you. Then I know we could give you a budget that says that you should spend 10% on food and groceries and you should spend 30% on where you live and, 5 or 10% on vacations. How can we change that so you can spend 20 to 30% on vacations because you really enjoy vacations, and you can cut eating out down to 2 or 3% and you can just cook at home because you don't even enjoy being around a lot of people. Right? So that's the whole premise behind living your rich life. How do you cut out the things that don't really move the needle for you, and how do you spend extravagantly on the things that you actually enjoy?
Yeah, man. What's crazy is, and I think we're all a work in progress when it comes to this. No matter how much you make, right? You're always a work in progress when it comes to putting money in the right places. And I'll say, even in my own personal life, I'm going through just trying to understand where to allocate certain things, right? What do I enjoy doing? What don't I enjoy doing? What do I believe? What are my beliefs, right? Do I believe in tithing, right? Do I believe in setting aside a certain percentage to be able to give the church, et cetera, right? Like, what are your beliefs? And I ask myself that all the time, like, what do I actually enjoy doing? Really, because I think, at least in our household, right, we were always more on the more conservative side of spending money. We didn't really love spending money. We wanted to hold on to it. But at the same time, the older you get, the more you realize it's not about not spending money. It's about actually having an allocated portion of your money to spend so that you don't feel bad doing it.
Exactly.
And on the vice versa side, right, with the people that overspend, right, when you've set aside and you've allocated certain funds, then it's not a subjective decision anymore. It's an objective. Do I have it in according to what I've allocated, or do I not have it according to what I allocated? It takes that subjective, touchy-feely part of money away a little bit, which I'm even going through in my own life, man.
Man, I think we're all going through a journey. Like, unless you had like a financial guru who was teaching you everything along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hit your first couple million and still don't know how you enjoy financial resources. You don't necessarily understand how to utilize them best. Yeah. So, I mean, this conversation goes out to anyone. This goes out to the dental student. This goes out to the 20-year practice owner. This is a mindset conversation, right?
Yeah.
This is, how do you spend for the best results and avoid spending in other areas frivolously,
Yeah.
right? So personally, I'm still going down this journey, and the reason that I enjoy this series is because I get to learn more about myself. I get to learn more about, how do I best allocate resources. For myself personally, since I've gone down this journey, I've realized that I enjoy building businesses.
Yeah.
I enjoy reinvesting back into our business. I enjoy just seeing things grow. So I'll go on trips. Trips are okay, but I really don't even care about the destination, to be honest with you. You can send me anywhere as long as it's nice and there's something to do and there's food to eat. I'm good. Yeah. I'm happy, right? Yeah. Some people say they want to go to Australia,
Yeah.
Regardless of which end of that spectrum you lie on, right? The question is, like, are you setting yourself up for you to live and enjoy that particular area, right?
Yeah, I think that reminds me of a quick story. I was speaking to a client not too long ago, and he had just sold a dental practice. He sold it and pretty much sold it, I believe, for like 1.2 million. And he moved and opened up another dental practice. And kind of where, what you're saying kind of registered with me was when he sold it, he took home, after paying off the liabilities, et cetera, took home probably about $600,000 when it was all said and done. And we all know when you sell something, especially something as big as a whole dental practice and you're building, it's going to come with a big tax bill. And we calculated it. We did his taxes, and his tax bill came up to about $250,000. And, he had the cash initially to pay it, right? You got to remember, taxes are after the fact. So you really have to, like we're saying, right? You have to have a good psychology, a good relationship with money. His $250,000 tax bill, that wasn't due until the next April, right? And, when it came time, we're like, hey, this is how much the tax bill is going to be. We're thinking, okay, he set it aside. But in reality, he only set aside only about $70,000. And I was thinking to myself, I said, and I'm asking him, I'm just trying to figure out the psychology he has with money. And I'm like, where's the money? He's like, this tax bill might end up bankrupting me. And I'm thinking to myself, where did this end up going? Right. Well, and, he said he ended up putting it into a home. And then, pretty much he put pretty much $600,000 down on $1 million home. And I'm like, you're coming to closing about 60% of the value, like why? And in reality, right, like I said, it's not this conversation, even this example, is not about being good or bad, but he has a family. He has about 6 or 7 kids. He's a family guy, wife, everything. So his psychology with money may be, I need to make sure they're good. And at the end of the day, they have a roof over their head, right? But when you can take that subjectiveness out of it and you can say, okay, these are the real numbers, then you don't feel a little bit panicked. Like, if I don't put it all towards here, what if, something happened and I can't make the mortgage payments on this $1 million home, right? Maybe he's thinking I've already put so much down, so I don't have to worry about that. So, right, it's not to pick on him. It's not to say what he's done is totally incorrect, but it's saying when you don't have that financial objectiveness, clarity, right, confidence, then you can end up being on so far on either side of that spectrum, right? And so that's the conversation about the rich life, is not feeling panicked, not feeling scared, not feeling nervous or just anxiety around making money decisions, man.
So what I really like about what you just said, that really turned a light bulb in my head, is the simple fact that the quote that, like, good intentions do not replace good habits, right? So the thing about money is that money doesn't have emotions. So when he chose to put the $600,000 into his home down payment, when in reality only $200,000 was required, in a way, that was a bit of an emotional decision, right? And I'm not here to say if it's a good emotion or a bad emotion. I'm just here to say that it was probably a little bit of an emotion. Yep. So money doesn't bring emotion to the equation. Yep. So when you're bringing an energy that's not matched by the other side, what happens is he's in a place where he has a great property and he has a great equity in it, but he might really become bankrupt by that decision. Yeah. So it's not necessarily his good. He probably had the best intention. He seems like he's probably a great guy too. But when it comes to finances, good intentions do not replace good habits. So the question is now, how do we start moving people from having the best intentions to start having good habits? Because our intentions have to match our habit sets. So as we continue to grow, because what happens is if you get financial resources before you're emotionally ready for them, before your habits are ready for them, what happens is you get a great payday like your client did, and the next year you could be bankrupt. Yeah. So how do you counsel people to make sure that their mindset and their habits match their current reality financially?
Yeah, I think with everything, I mean, and you talk to any financial professional, they probably have generally the same advice, would just be to have a plan. Yeah. Simply. It doesn't have to be the most perfect plan, the most tailored plan. I think, honestly, a lot of people are scared to have a plan because they feel like it's not the perfect plan. It's not the point of it, right? The perfect plan comes over once you've kind of tested, and you've kind of altered, and you've adjusted the plan that you currently have set. So I know we kind of sat down and looked at just to point people in the right direction. What should they be looking for when we keep talking about a plan? Yeah, man. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to put together just a tactical takeaway so that each person can walk away with something tangible and put a plan in action, because that's how you take this subjectivity out of finances. So do you want to touch on it a little bit?
From what we have here is that this is a tool in which we've been able to help a lot of clients really create those mental roadways so they feel safe and they feel good about when and how they spend money. Mm-hmm. So this is a very simple formula that you always want to make sure that you're saving more than you're spending. Mm-hmm. And from the amount that you spend, you always want to be investing more than you're banking. Right? Okay. So as you see here, it's highlighted here on the screen. And for those in podcast land, the link is going to be in the description in the show notes for you to be able to tune in. And if you're tuning in from a video format, you can see it here on the screen. Let's say if somebody makes $100, right? Just to make very simple terms, right? Yep. From that $100, you want to be saving at least 51 of those dollars. But the good thing about it is now you have $49 to spend guilt-free. Do whatever you want with it, right? Spend, again, as we said, spend lavishly on the things that you really, really enjoy, right? Now, of that $51 that's being saved, now, when you save money, you have an option to either save it and sit it, right? You park money, or a second option, which is invest it with the intent that it's going to grow, right? So of the $51 that you save, 26 of them mentally need to be doing some type of work, at least 26. The goal is to do more, but if we can be doing at least 26 of those dollars of the 51 should be moving in a way that it's trying to create more revenue, right? You want your monies to have babies, right? And create more from there, right? Yep. So then at that same token, you still have 25% that you're saving, right? That you're building in to your cash fund, that you're building into your safety fund, that you're paying off debt with, right? So now you're playing both sides, right? Honestly, you're playing all sides. You have the 49 out of your $100 that you're able to spend and enjoy your life lavishly with, right? You have $26 that's working, right? That you're hoping produces more, right? And then you have your 25% or $25 that's able to now make you feel safe at night, because you don't want to put everything into investments, right? Just like he did. He put in $600,000 into an investment, but he didn't have, but he didn't have that $25 saved ready to whatever comes on the tax side of things, right? And unfortunately, he didn't link up with you early enough in the process to even know what his estimated tax bill was going to be, right? Exactly. And that's why it's important that, like, yes, we are dentists, and yes, we are very brilliant and we're very smart, but you need to have professionals around you that can help guide you in the right way, right? And just like I said, like, having good intent does not replace good advice from good advisors. Right? Yeah. So in this quick and concise format, we know that if you get paid $100, you're spending $49 guilt-free on the things that you really, really enjoy and the things that you need, your housing, your vacations, everything, right? You have $51 left, right? You're taking 26 of those dollars and you're investing you're investing with intent. You want to make sure this money continues to grow, right? And then you have $25 that you're able to save and be able to feel safe, right? So Kingsley, if you can give me a little bit of a breakdown from there.
Yeah. So in general, I like to see that, in the invest account, I mean, invest can mean anything, right? And I like here that we didn't just say stock market. We didn't just say real estate, because investing can mean anything, right? Investing is anything that has the intent to grow, right? Like you said, money making babies, right? So, right, out of the invest column, right, we talked about just 3 things right here, right? Invest in you, invest in your expenses, and invest in assets. And I see all of these as very powerful tools to, like we keep talking about, for generational dental wealth, right? From the standpoint, if you're not investing in you, right, you're never going to be able to do all of these other things. Even you listening to this podcast is investing in you, right? You going to dental school and learning the things that you need to learn to provide for you and your family is investing in you. So in general, right, a lot of people talk about investing in assets. I believe that is great, right? Stocks, right? You do have real estate. You do have businesses that you can start. Maybe you're a passive investor in some opportunities. So investing in assets are great as well.
But you are your number one investment.
Yeah.
And I love that you harp on that, because that's why that's number one on there. Because again, you could invest in other things, but you are truly your number one investment. Because what happens when you have, see, this is a perfect example, honestly.
Yep.
The guy got the $1 million house, right? Yep. Your client got the $1 million house. He invested in the asset, but did he invest in the mental workup necessary to make sure that the $1 million house doesn't bankrupt him?
Exactly.
Because sometimes we invest in things that we're not mentally ready for, that our habits are not necessarily ready for, and that have the potential to bankrupt us, right? So we and ourselves have to be our number one investment.
Yeah, man. So invest in your most expensive expenses. You want to kind of touch on that a little bit? I know that's one of the ones you have fun with.
Man, listen, I'm so passionate about investing in your expenses, meaning that like there are certain things that are inevitable, right? For most people, you're going to need to live somewhere. For most people, you're going to need transportation, right? So those are the 2 biggest assets that if you're able to now own, you're able to cut out of the plan, right? Meaning that you're able to now use that 25% save bucket, save up for these expenses, and take care of them. So again, if you're going to live somewhere and you're not new to the area, you're pretty familiar with the area, you've associated there for some time, you own a practice there, it makes sense to go ahead and buy your primary residence. It only makes sense because now you're able to build up that equity. You're able to now cash flow in different ways. You can do a lot of different things with it. Versus continue to be a long-term lease and you're not able to now capture that investment opportunity. Yeah. I know you're going to hear people who say you can lease for a lifetime and you don't have to buy. And for those individuals, that might be okay. But for me and my rich life, right? When I think about what does my rich life entail, it entails me owning my expenses. So now I'm in a position where I can invest in the things that I really want to invest in, which are businesses, which are ideas, which are people, which are organizations. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to be investing into a long-term lease that's not yielding back anything, right? Yeah. So again, if you've been in the city for some time, right? I wouldn't necessarily advise this if you're like, you just graduated, you're moving into a new area that you're not familiar with. You might not necessarily want to buy immediately, but once you get comfortable with the area, you can see yourself there long-term, go ahead and buy that primary residence. Then we're talking about your vehicle, right? Yeah. The sooner you buy your vehicle, the better, right? And you helped me realize that by just showing me the different tax write-offs that are available when you have a vehicle, right? Now, when you have a lease, you can write off the entire lease, right? But at the same time, though, the lease, you write off what you spend. But when you own a car, you can technically write off past what you spend in your mileage. So for instance, right, you told me to get a hybrid. My hybrid gets 50 miles per gallon, right? Meaning that, how much is the tax rate right now for per miles? You can give me a rough number. You only got to get exact.
Last year was about 65 cents.
So let's call it 60 cents, right? 60 cents per mile. And I can drive 50 miles per gallon. Yep. That means basically per tank, I'm able to save a few $100s. And it might cost me $50 to fill up the tank, right? Yeah. So like when you're able to own your assets and your most expensive expenses, you're able to now create financial freedom out of literally thin air. Yeah. So for me personally, one of the biggest things after you invest in yourself is invest in your most expensive expenses. Then we can talk about stocks and bonds and all these other things, but you've now invested in you. You got the mental workup to do the things you need to do. You've invested and you own all your most expensive expenses. Now, if we talk about assets, what kind of assets are you usually seeing from your clients from a tax perspective?
Yeah, great question. So in general, right, I'll just touch on the big two, right? We all hear about, like you said, stocks. We all hear about real estate. But within those, it's kind of subsectors. And I like to break it down as, right, in stocks, right, you can touch on a lot of different things. And this isn't going to be a financial advising session or anything by any means. But in general, right, like figuring out what it looks like for you to have an HSA, right? A health savings account, putting some money away for your health expenses while that's actually being invested in the stock market that can be going up, right? Thinking about Roth IRA, you know, these words you might have thrown out before, but Roth IRA is just another way to invest into the stock market. And you do it in a tax advantage way. And obviously you have like the brokerage accounts, which you probably know, like a Robinhood, a Webull, just different platforms that allow you to invest into stocks. And in general, my favorite, right? We already talked about stocks. We've already talked about real estate. I think my personal favorite is investing in business. Whether that's in an active way, and you, even as a dentist, maybe having a 5 to 9, you doing something that you really like, a clothing brand or something. But I even think there's a lot of opportunities for you to be in passive opportunities. You know, being an accredited investor in different things, the fact that you have that wealth built up, you can now be in opportunities that, you know, the normal person cannot be in for you to have a passive investment in. I've talked to clients where, you know, they're in like a big real estate syndication. I'm throwing out some big words, don't worry about it, but a big real estate syndication in which it's a group going out to buy, let's just say, a big storage unit. You see those big storage units in town. Those can be owned by 100 different investors that all put up $50,000 to make that deal happen. And they all sell that investment in like 5 years, and now they have a big lump sum that they just earned. So it's a lot of different ways.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good, man. So I love that you're harping on the asset component of things. And as we continue to go through this, the biggest thing is that the way you have enough to be able to invest in assets is first after you've invested in you. It's after you've invested in your most expensive expenses. And then really the biggest thing is you learn how to live your rich life.
Yep.
And you don't have to have it all figured out, right? But if we can start moving in those directions, because the goal is for you to have extra excess after you've now determined mentally, what do I want to spend on lavishly and what can I cut back on because I don't really care for?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So for me personally, I don't like eating out. So going to nice fancy restaurants in different cities doesn't really move the needle for me, right? I love when my wife cooks, because I love the way she cooks. It's always flavorful. I can do it on our own time. That personally moves the needle for me. So I'm able to now cut back on food expenses by thousands, right? So because I enjoy that part of it. Again, like we talked about earlier, I don't really care for vacations in the most remote areas. I just want to be able to get away and be able to rest my mind a little bit, able to save now from vacations. Mm-hmm. Now, what I'm able to save from vacations and food, now I can invest back into myself. Then I can invest in my most expensive expenses. And then from there, whatever's left, now I can start investing into these different asset classes in a way that's comfortable, because you don't want to overstretch yourself trying to invest in assets and you leave yourself vulnerable like your client did. And now he might be facing bankruptcy.
Yeah, it happens. It happens, man. Well, I hope this was insightful. I know I definitely got a lot out of it from talking veneers to talking this and talking that, man. But I think this was a really good episode. Anything else, man?
I just want to be clear that he is my CPA, okay? Seek your CPA or your financial advisor for any financial advice.
Yeah.
These conversations are fly on the wall, giving you a glimpse into the conversations that him and I have. So please, everything that we discussed here was a personal conversation. If you have any type of questions, seek your CPA or contact Kingsley or contact somebody who can help you in your situation. Do not take this as tax or financial advice. Fun conversation, man. Thank you so much for your time.
That's it. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.